For 1999, Cadillac finally got its own entry to compete in the highly lucrative full-size luxury SUV market. The new 1999 Cadillac Escalade was based on an existing General Motors SUV, but offered more prestige and targeted the same buyers that would otherwise purchase a Lincoln Navigator. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the 1999 and 2000 Cadillac Escalade, an SUV that began as a repurposed GMC Yukon Denali, but eventually became one of Cadillac's most important and profitable models. So grab a ketchup soda, kick back, and let's get down to the nitty-gritty. By the late 90s, Cadillac was facing a new dilemma. Domestic rival Lincoln had a smash hit on their showroom floor, the all-new Navigator. Frankly, luxury SUVs were taking off in general around this time, and Cadillac had nothing to offer prospective buyers. General Motors had a new GMT 820 truck platform down the pipeline. However, that would not be ready to underpin the Chevrolet Tahoe and GMC Yukon, and a new full-size Cadillac SUV until the year 2000. The Lincoln Navigator, basically a dressed-up Ford Expedition, would become successful enough to knock Cadillac out of first place in domestic luxury vehicle sales for the first time in history. With the GMT 820 still 2 years out, this also meant facing 2 years of missed sales and brand reinforcement. The top officials at GM were scrambling to quickly put together their own full-size luxury SUV to steal a bit of the market from the Navigator and hopefully return Cadillac to first place in domestic luxury vehicle sales. 1998, Cadillac's new luxury SUV entered production, being built at Arlington Assembly. The GMC Yukon Denali was simultaneously being built at this location. The Yukon Denali has some styling elements which differed from the standard Yukon. There was a new front fascia, new lower side body panels, and unique 16-inch polished aluminum wheels. All in all, this Denali nameplate served as the pricier, top-tier variant of the GMC Yukon. With no time to design and build an upscale SUV from scratch, the execs found their only option was to look to other GM brands and adopt a sport ute to serve as the basis for their luxury model. This luxury SUV would be a stopgap model, one that would mitigate the sales surge by Lincoln. 1999. This marked the first model year for Cadillac's new Escalade. Ultimately, this is what GM came up with, a badge-engineered GMC Yukon Denali. This new luxury SUV was simply a variant of the Tahoe and Yukon twins, with strong genetic ties to the Suburban. In a nutshell, GM was caught by surprise once Lincoln launched the Navigator, which basically became an instant success. And up until this point, Cadillac was a non-player in this high-dollar SUV league. Mercedes had their hot-selling ML SUV. Likewise, Lexus was enjoying a ton of success with their RX 300 and LX 470 models. Infiniti was even in the game with its tarted-up Nissan Pathfinder clone, the QX4. Power came from a 5.7-liter V8. This was the mill that could be found on the GMT 400s of the time. The rig was equipped with a 4-speed automatic and an auto-track 4-wheel drive system. However, when compared to the Navigator's 300 horsepower 5.4-liter Intec V8, the Escalade was deemed underpowered. The V8 engine in conjunction with a large heavy frame didn't necessarily make the Escalade economical by any means either. Averaging just 12 miles per gallon in the city and 16 miles per gallon on the highway, the fuel efficiency wasn't spectacular, but ironically, these were the same figures the Navigator boasted. General Motors kept the great off-road attributes of the Tahoe and Yukon in the Escalade. The only differences were the highway tires that came standard on the Escalade and a slightly softer suspension. Just like the 4-wheel drive versions of the Tahoe and Yukon, the Escalade also had a low-range gearbox setting for hardcore hill climbing. But unlike the Tahoe and Yukon, this generation Escalade was not offered in a cheaper 2-wheel drive version. The 1999 Escalade did not have third-row seating, so buyers of this segment had to look elsewhere to get that feature. For instance, a third seat was available in the Navigator, Land Cruiser, and LX 470, as well as in the smaller but also competitive Mercedes SUV. The Escalade could seat 5 fully grown adults in comfort, and there was 66.9 cubic feet of cargo space available behind the rear seat. Cadillac Sport Ute kept the basic 1999 design for one more year, 2000, as did the GMC Yukon Denali and Chevy's Tahoe Z71 and Limited. When GM rolled out the GMT 800 platform for 1999, the standard Tahoes and Yukons got a redesign for the 2000 model year. The new truck-based SUVs were updated with a new platform, styling, and powertrains. Nothing was new for the 2000 Escalade, except that buyers got a choice of a rear liftgate or full center opening doors. There would be no Escalade available for 2001. However, a new redesigned version would be making an appearance as a 2002 model. Cadillac unveiled the 2002 Escalade in August 2000 at Pebble Beach. During this time, the 2000 model remained on sale. Whereas the new Chevrolet and GMC full-size SUVs launched for the 2000 model year, Cadillac delayed the Escalade's switch to the GMT 820 chassis until early 2001 as a 2002 model. This made the Caddy the last of the three to switch to the new chassis. Despite sharing basic architecture, no one would mistake this new Caddy for a Yukon Denali this time around. The second generation Escalade boasted in-your-face styling, big power, and sophisticated electronics. Thanks to a huge boost in power, this new Escalade easily outgunned any other contender in the large luxury SUV segment. The two-wheel drive models were powered by GM's 5.3-liter V8, producing 285 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque. But buyers of the four-wheel drive model were in for the real treat. The four-wheel drive came standard with the larger 6-liter Vortec V8, which cranked out 345 horsepower and 380 pound-feet of torque. This was truly class-leading V8 power. The Lincoln Navigator now trailed behind in terms of power output, with 300 horsepower and 355 pound-feet from its 5.4-liter V8. The Navigator also found itself behind the new GMC Yukon Denali, which was now rated at 320 horsepower and 365 pound-feet of torque from a slightly lower compression edition of the Escalade 6-liter. As far as some of the other large luxury SUVs, the Range Rover, the Toyota Land Cruiser, and the Lexus LX470, those did not come close to offering even just 300 horsepower. As a result, the new Escalade overshadowed its predecessor, being praised by the media and the public in general. All in all, despite the first generation Escalade being a low-effort, quick rush job by GM, the plan did work. About 50,000 Escalades were sold during the model's brief first generation. Ironically, the first generation Escalade has all but disappeared from the memory of most people. This is probably because of the iconic status the 2002 model achieved compared to the 1999's somewhat anonymous appearance. Demonstrating Cadillac's art and science design language and sharing only its basic body shape with lesser GM SUVs, the Escalade catapulted to being a regular in pop culture and synonymous with status and wealth. Credit has to be given to Cadillac for stealing the American full-size luxury SUV crown from Lincoln. Lincoln held the crown in the early days, but Cadillac soon dominated the segment. Let us know if you owned or drove a 1999 to 2000 Cadillac Escalade. As always, thanks for coming out to the show, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until next time, this is your host Rob, and thanks for tuning in to Antique Tags.